Go.
Okay, sorry, we had a little technical glitch, but I'll just keep going. So these are scarlet runners, and we actually prefer these. These are purple on the vine, and then they turn green when you cook them. So there's that. There's a whole bunch over here you can see. These are also going to seed. Once beans get huge like this, they're not really edible, so I just quit harvesting. So these will go to seed. I'll take those seeds and replant them. Which saves money and is just sort of better for the beds, because I know they do well here. So that's about it for this bed. It's kind of a mess. So
what's that?
This is called these are Romanos. These are an Italian flat bean. So again, they're about done. This one is actually dry, so I'll be able to harvest that for seed. But basically, here's some young ones. These are like a green bean, but they're sort of a more buttery texture. They're really nice. This is the first time we've grown them. I had to do the same thing and build up because they were so prolific. So next time I'll build them on a taller structure. And we'll definitely grow those again.
Over there is a lemon tree that is not producing.
Right, and if it doesn't shape up pretty quick, it's coming out. Because if it's not going to feed me, why should I give it water? Okay, so this is bed 2. And this bunch of ferny stuff is actually asparagus. Asparagus, you know, comes up in the spring. You can kind of see, if Todd zooms in here, you can kind of recognize with these little triangle-y things, diamond things, the asparagus essence. So what happens is it comes up in the spring when it's about, you know, a foot tall or so. I cut it off at the base. We eat asparagus for 6 or 8 weeks in the spring, and then as they start to come up, they get really woody and tough, and that really is the plant's way of telling us that it's done. So then we let them go, and they grow big and tall. They're, you know, probably 8 feet tall in places, and they stay like that until about November, and then it dies back and becomes very dead looking. November or December, I cut it off to the ground, and then it's just dormant, and then starts to pop back up in early spring, which is really the big sign that, you know, food is here again. It's the first crop that comes on. This bed is going to be planted in brassicas, and I'll get to that in a minute, but in the fall. So what we have here is just the beginnings of my fall seedlings. And then this is, we have kale, we have some parsnips, some leeks, and this is actually crops that I was growing last winter that I didn't expect to live past February. But I think because this bed gets really nice afternoon shade, they're doing well still. So really this is kind of an experiment. I also have some herbs in there interplanted. So in another, as these seedlings come on, I'll reseed that.
Okay.
And then over against the house, that is a 6-in-1 apple. It's in a candelabra espalier shape. It's taking shape at this point. That's why we have that sort of funky structure. As it turns out, it's not getting enough sun, which is weird to think because it's in full sun right now. But what we're going to do is move it, and I'll show you where we'll move it in just a moment when we get over there. But we'll move it to a spot where it gets better sun. So then this is what I refer to as bed 3, and right now it is planted in what are called cucurbits, C-U-R-C-U-R-B-I-T, which is squashes and melons. So,
oh, sorry about the bump there, I just tripped.
This is one of Todd's favorite squashes. This is crookneck. So you can see there's a crookneck with a gigantic flower on it. Squash blossom, which we've also learned to eat this year, which are really nice. These are winter squash. This is called sweet dumpling. So there's some baby sweet dumplings, and here's some that are riper. So the nice thing about these is we grow them and harvest them now, but they will hold through the winter. So that then becomes winter eating for us. So the ladders. So the situation with the ladders is that I wanted to grow these melons, right? Cantaloupe, and then there's what are called kombuchas and butternut squash, and they all take up a lot of room, but I don't have a lot of room. So this is an experiment to try to grow them vertically. So it's working fairly well with the cantaloupe. You can see I'm just training it up over the top. They're doing okay. What I'm learning is they prefer to be on the ground because they're spreading and they're aggressive on the ground, and I'm not getting a lot of fruit on the tall. These, interestingly enough, the first time I grew this plant, they were growing up over the top of ladders and they were really profuse. And for whatever reason, these plants are not interested. So they were slow to get started and they're sort of slow in action. We are getting fruit, but my great ladder experiment is not super successful this year. But then you can also see we have cantaloupe growing on the ladder itself, which is kind of nice, and then it will grow up. And if we go back here, on this one we have this is a butternut squash, and then there's a little bit more fruit coming on that I've seen. So again, I'm training it to go up just so that I maintain as much ground space as I can. So then this is a squash called a benning. It's a patty pan. I just harvested, so I don't see any. And then these are two squashes called cube butter. These are the most prolific plants I think I've ever had. If Todd wants to pull in, they're basically like a zucchini, but they're yellow. Very nice. They're a great flavor. Between these two plants, I've harvested over 32 pounds so far this year. So I take a lot of it to work. I drop it off at the church rectory. I'm doing whatever I can with it. So really, planting 5 squash plants was silly on my part, and live and learn. But I mean, it's nice to have food to donate, so that's great. This is a structure we built that we call the keyhole, primarily because of the shape of it. All of these rocks that you see we got off of a tool we use called FreeCycle, that basically is an organization where if we have something that we don't need anymore, we'll post it, and if someone has something they want to give away, they post it, and then we just say we want it and we go get it. Or if somebody wants something from us, then anyway, it works very well. Maybe Todd can explain that a little better.
A way for people to give stuff away.
That's really great. I mean, we got,
reuse.
I don't know, thousands and thousands of pounds of these rocks that were quite valuable. So anyway, this is our little chill zone. What Todd's showing you right now is our tomatoes. And this is a tomato cage that we built. So this is a traditional tomato cage in this area. Just these sort of cone-shaped wire things. But the first year we planted tomatoes, the tomato was as big as a Mini Cooper, and we ended up having, ropes and string and chairs and all kinds of things to hold them up. It looked like quite the redneck yard.